Alright, so I'm over here on my mobile setup. I'm away from my desktop. I also want to show what I've done so far for Viper Engine. This is something I've been working on since May 6th, 2026 on this iteration, so just over 2 months, about to hit the 3-month mark. I've done all the code by myself. I have not used any AI, and there is a few different libraries. So there's the Rust core section, and inside the C++ there is a manager section, and then the actual renderer section. So we're going to take a look at another area that I've built, and I think first off, let's go ahead and take a look at this demo game I've made. Now if I open Python 3 main.py, this will open the editor. And at first it doesn't quite look like an editor because we have a player, he animates, he walks, and there's some layers. But this in fact is the editor. If I hit the key E, we have a camera speed section and we have a zoom section. Now if I use either the arrow keys or WASD, we can actually move around this world, and if I hit E we snap back to the player. This world, if I click on certain sections, I can actually move them around, and if I hit P back to E, let's say I closed out and went back, we can actually, let me bump up my camera speed, we can actually see that edit is made. And the question does become though, right, like, okay, cool, I can edit these tile map locations, but how does this work, right? And how do we have collisions? Well, that's where things get kind of interesting. So if we take a look here at assets, and I'm going to look at Pallet Town, for example, what my engine needs is some type of image and then CSV file data that is generated using the tiled program. And this allows us to have certain layers designated for collision, rendering above the player, so on and so forth, and it allows the user who's building the game to not have to worry about, like, hey, how do I code in collisions? So this is kind of like part one. The other thing is, once you've made your edits, you likely don't want the edits to happen while someone plays it. So that's where this file comes in, and it goes, hey, starting Viper game, please input the name of the project directory folder. If I type in Pokemon, it'll actually load it up. Notice there's no longer an entity count, there's no longer frames per second. If I hit E, we can't go in and edit anything. There's this little box here as well. I'm not sure if I pointed this out, but if we walk into it, it'll spawn us to another zone. Now that zone is probably way off the map in this case, and we can actually go see that if we came over back to the Pokemon game and typed our Python 3 main.py. I'm gonna walk into that zone like we did. I'm gonna hit E, turn up my camera speed, and we're gonna see if we can find that zone. The zone is there. Notice there's this little zone here as well. Looks like I have some type of seg fault, which, such is life. So this is one thing that we can use Viper for, and let's take another look at a different section. So I'm going to open up Python 3 main.py, and here we have a little link guy. In the background there is Cubone being rendered in wireframe mode. He is rotating, these lights are blinking. If I left click, he can enter different animations. I can break these rocks, break this stuff. I can walk into here. This is a dialog box that pops up. And if I was to run this again and go into E, we can actually move the renderer. Now, one thing I did not expect is this Cubone guy to actually move with us. That's interesting. And we can add like this darkened area as well, and so that gives us more of that light effect here. But how this part is working is kind of interesting in its own right. So in this test.json area, I actually allow the user to pick an OBJ. And so let's say we want the pumpkin in this case. So we'll do pumpkin, and speed is 1 for rotation. Let's say it's 5, and I want like a red pumpkin. So I'm gonna do 255 there, and 255 for the alpha. Lifetime doesn't do anything at the moment, but that's okay. And we'll run our program. Oh, probably would help if we didn't have that in the way. Let's try that again. Just kind of looking here. Pumpkin. Pumpkin. Yep, let's try that. There's our pumpkin. So before I spelled it wrong, and so it didn't load, also didn't error out. We can also move these lights around, which is very useful. Can move these things around as well, and then the map as a whole around. If I was to put scale here, and I'm actually going to lower the speed to more of a 0.2 and save, run this, we can see the pumpkin growing over time. Now, my idea for this game engine is it's going to be 2D. It's going to be a 2D game engine by default, but it would be kind of nice in some ways to have its own VFX system. And so my idea is to use 3D models to allow quick iteration of what vertices, what they're going to do. Are they going to explode? Are they going to disintegrate? And so this creates a nice little system here. One thing hidden here as well, because we can break the rocks and then move through that collision zone, in this area is rendered above the player. When we were to break this tree, it would be really bizarre if the top stayed. So hidden inside a lot of this code is a system where tiles have friends, and if you're a friend tile, you are destroyed as well. Well, so this is one area, and let's go to our third area real quick. I have been experimenting with creating a platformer as well, and so we got some gravity here. There's some funky animations. I just downloaded some random guy off itch.io, and if I notice there's entity count up here, 129. If I left click, we can actually start spraying entities. The count went up, and then they delete. Now, this is kind of a not a oversight at all, but one thing I have not done is they only delete on the right side. This was because I was testing this idea, and if I start spraying them on the left side, notice the entity count will actually, those will never delete. And that's just, haven't gotten to that part yet. But one of the nice things about what I have here is I'm able to go in Python 3 builder.py, and let's say I said, hey, I want a new test. So it created a test here. In this folder, it includes my manager stuff, and inside game, it has a README file, it has a game.json, it has an empty assets folder. Oop, looks like I closed all the way out. Let's go back over here. So it has an empty assets folder and the libviper and a main.py. And if I was to run Python 3 main.py here, it has a title, it has 0 entities, frame per second counter up. We can load into this section, and there's a whole lot of nothing. And if we were to enter the code area, the reason we have a whole lot of nothing is the template given to us basically says, hey, go ahead and open it. We're going to have the title be title. Just going to show the frame rate, and then we're just going to update the game. But this isn't the only template area. If I was to go back here and run this a similar code. So Python 3 main.py, or not main, builder.py new RPG, and I would call that one yo. We can create another folder. Similarly, if we were to run Python 3 main.py here, it's a whole lot of nothing. The title did change to RPG, and the code itself in the main file is slightly more. So we give the user a little bit more boilerplate in this case. So it goes, hey, here's a definition of the player, some instructions here, a instruction on how to make a map with an example, and a little bit more of how this would work. You know, you would go like this to make your player, so to speak, but you definitely want to have some type of assets for that player to go. And yeah, so this is what I have so far for Viper Engine, and I was able to compile this for Windows as well, and I will be stress testing it, and I'm very excited.